You ever watch a game unfold and feel like the ground beneath Detroit's feet is about to quake? Not with noise, but with something deeper. Something quiet, relentless, that breaks through decades of doubt? What if the very threads holding our offense together are being rewoven right now, behind that closed-off curtain where only the bold dare peek? The word on the street is a slow-burning storm on the offensive line, puzzle piece sliding into place after what felt like forever of second-guessing and scrambling. And before you blow this off as just another shuffle, listen closely. The name Graham Glasgow echoing in the center. No longer a question mark, but the anchor of every single snap is about as Detroit as it gets. The man who's been the unsung warrior finally stepping into the spotlight where the line meets the quarterback, delivering that exchange, that fragile but fierce handshake that Dan Campbell swears is the heartbeat of every play. Behind the scenes, Kingsley Eguakum, an undrafted kid out of Florida who barely turned heads a year ago, is now breathing down Glasgow's neck as backup center. A versatile athlete Dan Campbell can't stop praising. This isn't just bench depth. It's grit, it's toughness. It's what our city forged in rust and sweat. When you hear Campbell's words, quiet confidence, sharp technique, competitiveness, coming from a coach who's been baptized in the fire of losing seasons and clawing his way back, you know this kid could be the X factor we've been begging for, the kind of player who makes the offensive line a fortress, not a sieve. Think about how many times we've watched our line falter, how many snaps Jared Goff took hits that crushed not just his body, but our collective hope. But now, look at Tate Ratledge sliding into right guard like he's been there forever. The kind of fan favorite who's winning hearts not because of hype, but because he's earned it, sweat by sweat, trial by trial. This line, is no longer a question. It's a promise. And that promise? Man, it ushers in something wild for our offense, especially for a guy like John McGibbs, who's poised to shatter expectations and rewrite what Detroit running backs can do in an offense that's finally putting playmakers in space, isolating talent, giving these athletes the freedom to dance, to explode, and to break through defenses like lightning ripping across a summer sky. And with Goff steady, relentless, a man who knows this team's pain feeding off the protection and the speed around him, it's like watching the embers of a long-lost flame start to glow red-hot again. Have you seen the way Sam Laporta talks about this? How he sees the talent around him and believes for the first time in years, this offense isn't just trying to survive, it's ready to thrive. Imagine the weight of that belief stacked against years of heartbreak since '91. The ghosts of Caldwell years haunting the sidelines, and now here we are, staring them down with a resolve forged by the scars we carry. But what if we're chasing a mirage? What if this gamble, this reimagined line, these fresh faces stepping into vital roles, is the last desperate hurrah before the window slams shut? What if, just when the city starts to breathe hope into its lungs again, fate delivers another cruel twist, yet I can't shake it. There's a fire here, buried beneath the noise, that screams this move is the spark Detroit's offense has been starving for. The offensive line is the biggest story because it's the foundation, a few dominoes away from toppling the defense, from giving Goff the time to find Laporta, Gibbs, St. Brown, Montgomery, and even Jameson Williams tearing downfield in a blur we've only dreamed of. So many eyes are on the coordinator gig, but those whispers, they don't matter as much as this line that's lining up and saying, we're ready to fight. And if this chain reaction hits, if Glasgow holds the line and Eguakum pushes through, if Ratledge keeps rising, then Detroit's offense doesn't just get better. It becomes a nightmare for defenses, a symphony of power and speed that could finally silence the critics and light up Ford Field like never before. So I'm asking you right now, if your heart's racing and your soul's screaming for Detroit to rise, tell me, can you feel it? That quiet storm that's about to shatter this city's season and maybe, just maybe, bring us the glory long overdue? Because if this domino falls, if this offensive line holds steady under fire, you might not believe who's next to step up. And trust me, Detroit's not just coming back. We're coming for blood. The fuse has been lit, and the explosion starts now. Smash the silence, Detroit. The thunder's waking up, and it's about to shake the heavens. For too long, we've watched our pride buried beneath layers of broken promises, past failures, and the ghosts of seasons lost in the shuffle yet. Here we stand, on the brink of something raw, something primal, ready to tear through what's been holding us back. Think back to the dark days, the 0-16 nightmare that left scars etched deep into our city's collective soul. Remember the helplessness, the despair of believing that the Lions would never climb out of the abyss, and the cold sting of seeing stars like Calvin Johnson hang up his cleats, soldiering through the pain of a franchise that hadn't earned his loyalty. Recall the heartbreak of Jim Caldwell's firing, an abrupt end to what felt like real hope, and the bitter taste of playoff dreams dashed just as they flickered within reach last season, only to crumble in inexplicable collapse. But amidst all that, let's look right now, something shifting. I can feel it in the air, like a storm brewing just beyond the horizon. Our offensive line isn't just shuffling. It's rewriting itself with a ferocity that screams resilience. Glasgow, the veteran, emerging as an unshakable fortress, a cornerstone finally anchoring our charge forward. Behind him, Kingsley Iguakun, a forgotten doggy in the NFL yard just a year ago, now standing tall with a fire that Dan Campbell can't shut up about quiet confidence. Razor-sharp technique, a relentless competitiveness, and an unyielding desire to carve out his name. In Detroit history, while the city roars behind him with every snap. Think about the narrative two unlikely heroes tonight, fighting against the tide, forging a line that could turn this team into a juggernaut. And what about Ratledge, sliding into right guard like he's always belonged, that rough, gritty, no-nonsense attitude that fuels a city built on grit and heart? It's more than just physical, it's psychological. These guys aren't just playing, they're fighting for redemption, for justice against a past that's haunted us every step of the way. As the pieces click, we're painting a picture of an offense poised to explode. A squad that's finally embracing the kind of unity nobody thought possible. After decades of heartbreak, think of Barry Sanders walking away in frustration, of Matt Stafford's tears after playoff heartbreak, of Calvin's silent retirement, all triggers for why we're starving for a reason to believe again. Goff, steady and relentless, finally protected by a line that's not just holding ground but crushing doubts with every pancake block. With him scanning the field like a general ready to strike at vulnerabilities unseen before. Laporta's words echo. He sees the talent, the chemistry, the hunger. He believes this offense isn't just decent anymore. It's dangerous. And the rivalry's fears are mounting because the NFC North's best is trembling at the thought of a Detroit revival that's finally taking shape in earnest. We see the blueprint Gibbs shredding through the fences. A lightning bolt bursting into chaos, finally given the space to dance, to turn small plays into big stories. Montgomery's grit, St. Brown's finesse, and Williams' breaking speed. They're more than weapons, they're symbols of a city that refuses to stay down, that refuses to be ignored. The question now is, can this line hold? Will Glasgow anchor this storm, or will we see the specter of past collapses haunt yet another season? Urban legend or truth, we're standing here, breath held on the edge, waiting to see if this new chapter writes itself in blood, sweat, and 1,000 roaring voices. But here's what I know for sure. When Detroit finally strikes, it's going to be like ice breaking fire, a season-defining moment etched in history. And once it ignites, nothing can stop what's coming. So tell me, are the stars aligning for US or just flickering ghosts? Because if this line stands firm, if Ratledge keeps rising and Iguacan's fire keeps burning, we might just be staring at the beginning of the greatest Lions story ever told. And I swear to you, the next chapter could change everything forever except one thing. Will the earth itself wait for us to catch up? Or is this the moment it's about to fracture under the weight of Detroit's unyielding roar?